We are starting our next session with our Noida chapter on career development, instant noodles or gardening. I would like to thank our founding sponsor, Innovation Roots. It is a leading consulting and training service provider helping organizations to achieve business agility and beyond. It is one of the leaders and pioneers of niche publishing services and well known for content collaboration with global thought leaders, authors, and creators. For more information, visit www.innovationroots.com. We also thank our sponsor Agile, which is a product offering from Tata Consultancy Services Limited. It is a purely cloud-based enterprise agile planning tool along with DevOps capabilities. Enterprise can use Agile to adopt agile practices or scale across multiple Scrum and Kanban teams using enterprise scaling frameworks such as SAFe, Discipline Agile, Less, and more. You can try out Agile for free up to 20 users for 30 days by signing up at agile.io or reach out to us for any enquiries or exclusive product demo. Check out the Agile page on Agile Network India website for more information. Here are some do's and don'ts for the participants. Join the event 5 minutes before the start time. Use high quality speakers or headphones for better sound quality. Please keep your microphones muted and video disabled as this may cause disturbance and bandwidth issue. Questions will be taken via the chat box. Please enter the questions in the chat box. At the end of the session, the facilitator or the moderator will help and read out a few questions to the speaker as per the time available. Please fill in the feedback form after the event to help us understand more about the event management. We appreciate your cooperation. So we'll start this session from Noida chapter, which is on career development, instant noodles or gardening. I request Nitin to take over.
Everyone, good afternoon, and thanks for joining this session. Very quick about myself that I am also an analyst working in industry from last almost 15 years. I have the exposure working in Agile consulting, project management, and the various coaching industries. Currently supporting one of the, not supporting, I can say, but only engaged with one of the pioneer service industry across the globe. For me, it is a privilege that we have a speaker like Manoj, who has around 20 plus years of corporate exposure, where he worked as a QA head in one of the pioneer IT services across. He has experience working with the Oracle News and Technologies. And what I have experienced after talking to Manoj and his expertise, that I see that he is a very passionate speaker and he is also a philanthropist. He normally trusts that if he share his knowledge, he share his journey with the team members or the people engaged with him, definitely it will be a huge chance that people will get inspired with his journey, and it will be definitely a win-win situation for both Manoj and the team. So without wasting my time, I'll invite Manoj. Manoj, welcome into this discussion and happy to host you here. Yeah, over to you, Manoj.
Okay, thanks very much, Nisha and Nitin, for the wonderful introduction. And good afternoon, everyone. Today's session is going to be on career development, and I'm sure you would have wondered about the topic for same, which is instant noodles or gardening. And as we follow through remaining slides, you would understand what is the rationale of using this title, because the impact that we want to make is aptly covered via these two words. Okay, Nitin has already introduced me, so we can skim through this slide. I have worked with a bunch of companies before Mesoclick, which is Oracle, MakeMyTrip, CA Technologies, Nucleus, and Newgen, and mostly all throughout in the field of testing. Little about Mesoclick. Mesoclick is a no-code application development platform where one can define or configure the application without writing any line of code. So as the topic is agile, and Mesoclick suits in that frame very well, because if there is a business analyst who wants to configure a screen, he need not to go to a developer to get the things done, whereas the platform provides out-of-box capabilities that one can use. If you want to know more about this solution, you can visit mesoclick.com. Okay, what I want or support from all of you is that let's have this as a conversational session, not like just monologue from me, or just take this Q&A at the end. If you have any question on a slide, feel free to type in, and Nisha or Nitin will help to call that out. Otherwise, if you want to speak up, just call it out. You can clarify your queries. And I'm sure you would benefit. We would have a much more impactful session if we interact with each other during the course of this session. Does that sound good, Nitin, Nisha?
Yeah, this sounds perfect, Manoj.
Yes,
We can
Manoj.
proceed.
Great, thank you. So if anybody would like to speak up or want to share that, what is the difference between if we can make it out between instant noodles or making noodles or gardening? Any thoughts, anything?
It is like short term, long term. Like on the spur, let's say something new comes up and I want to get certified and get a good salary on that new stuff, that is instant noodle. And gardening is like you become like a domain expert, or you become an expert over a period of time that needs constant and consistent learning. Yeah, that's what is my take.
Yep, thanks, Amar. Anybody else? Any thought that come in your mind, right? What is this contrast? Why we are talking about, or why we are comparing between instant noodles and gardening?
In gardening, you need to be doing everything on a case-to-case basis. Every plant, every herb can be different. But in this
Yeah.
instant noodles, it is all commoditized. That's a basic difference. I would put it in that perspective.
Yep. Very good. Thanks, Prashant. Anybody else? I'm sure there are
Yes,
some.
here.
Yeah.
Instant noodles is just fill your stomach just once, then instant noodle go waste. Whereas in gardening, you can do which can be ongoing activity. You get food uh, every time when you nurture them very well.
Yep. Thanks, Ritvik. Very good. I think great
Uh,
perspectives, and it is good to see
gardening
that. Go ahead.
gardening is for long-term strategic plan, which can addresses the short-term benefits as well. But the noodles is like a uh, one-time sprint.
Yeah.
It cannot give the long-term benefits or long-term ROI. It is
Yeah.
culture of the organization in the gardening. But here it is like a heroic achievement or a heroic adventure is noodles.
Yep. Thanks, Banu. Appreciate it. So I think all of you covered the very nice perspective about these two contrasts. And let me share my perspective. Instant noodle, as the name suggests, that you can quickly cook them and then just meet your requirement, which is our hunger, right? Whereas if you look at gardening, if we believe that we need to have a good garden in the backyard or front yard of our house or our apartment, we cannot do in 2 minutes for sure, right? It requires patience, it requires efforts. Sometimes we have to put fertilizer, sometimes we have to put watering to the plant, sometimes we have to take out the weeds. There are different weather, some are indoor, outdoor. Every plant has different need, right? And then if we put it all together in a consistent way, the main thing is we cannot do it just for 1 week or 1 month and imagine that for the rest of the life we are going to have a beautiful garden. Definitely not. It requires effort on daily basis or a regular basis so that we can see the blossom, we can take or enjoy the greenery around us, or the fragrance of the flowers. Similarly, and what I thought in my personal experience, the career development goes in the same way. Will, as we proceed with these slides, there are various scenarios that in corporate world we all face, and then that's the point. We think that either I'm looking for a promotion, I want to change my team, I want to change my organization, and we want instant. And then when I say instant, it is not in 2 minutes I want to change my organization. It is just maybe 3 months, 6 months. But looking at an average tenure of, like, we have like 40 years of our working experience by the time somebody completes his or her engineering versus the retirement, it's 40 years on an average. 3 months, 6 months is very short period, right? Whenever we want to switch an organization, and we cannot have a good garden or a good opportunity if we just try to work on the best of the things at that point. So we have to nourish it. We have to work on it on daily basis so that we have a bit, a nice career and we get whatever we are aspiring for. With that, I think the analogy it helps in registering that what we are trying to make the point. And in the subsequent slide, whatever the points we are going to make, they require discipline, they require patience, they require a lot of effort from our side so that we do not waste the effort. Okay, just a quick poll, right? Is career development important and why? Anybody, if a couple of you want to share your experiences, your, inputs, that would be awesome.
Hi, this is Renju.
Hi.
I would like to add that yes, career development is definitely important because in today's world, it's the only constant thing is change. And if you don't come up and change yourself, developing yourself into the changing organizational context, you will not be any more relevant to the organizations. And at the same time, you also have to give an answer to yourself that yes, you're adding some value and you are seeing those changes. So that tells the importance of career development to me.
Wonderful. Awesome, Renju. Thanks for sharing your inputs. Anybody else?
So Manoj, Nitin this side. So
Yeah.
I completely agree with Renzo that what he has explained about that. Yes, the kind of the change we are expecting. So we all, everyone in this group or even in the personal life, you see that the industry is growing and growing like anything. Okay. So yeah. So Renzo has rightly pointed that the change and the expectation of the industry. So when we talk about the why career development is important, because until unless you are not in line with the thought of industry that why industry is evolving, how the change and the thought process of industry is in lining the thought process other, if I am ready on those items which is industry needs for me, and if I am ready to accept those changes, is there the certain skill set criteria and the expectation of the industry either I'm fulfilling all those need or not. So there might be situation that I and my skill set and my thought process may obsolete in the future. That's why every time it is emphasized that you should keep the developing your interest, keep developing the knowledge. So my thought process why the development is to just in line with the industry expectation, because that is only constant source that gives me the enough opportunity in working environment or the professional, not only professional, in the personal life also.
Wonderful. Absolutely. Completely agree with you, Nitin. Thanks much. Okay. So proceeding with this, so definitely completely agree with both of your inputs. And the one key thing about career development is that the change, right? And Renjo also mentioned that the change is constant. But the challenge part with change is that we want everything around us to be changed without us changing, right? Changing our habits, our daily routines, our beliefs is the most difficult thing that we need to come through, right? And if we are open for that, if we put our effort, then we are going to embrace the change which is happening around the industry as well. That's one. The second part is that with the development, right, the industries are growing, they're adapting agile. There are changes in the roles which are taking place, right? For example, QA, some people may say that there is not a specific QA role, or there is not a dev engineer role, dev manager role, and things like that. So people are switching between the various roles, and then it can be a threat, but it can be an opportunity as well, right? This is the way we look at it. It is depend on us. What are our strengths, how solid we are on our skills? It's all dependent on that. So many a times whenever changes happen, some people evolve, some people come as a winner, they become stronger, and some people lose their position, right? It all depends on what are our strengths, how do we have handled those scenarios. Moving on. And then it helps in achieving our personal goals that we have. And here are some of the examples of goals. Knowledge, like many of us aspire for having a better knowledge or a wider knowledge in different areas. Having the control, this is like representing the help, that I want to drive something, I want to people want a position of head or the lead of some particular module, And the very reason is that I should be responsible for its success as well as driving various things around this area. So it gives us a lot of kick that when we are driving certain area, career growth, obviously, like we want to step up in our roles, social recognition, right? That when we have we are able to get different titles in good companies, it brings us a lot of confidence among us. It brings, social value among ourselves. And then last but not the least, the pay raises, right? One of the critical factor that people want, that, as the career is developing, it is a byproduct, right? If we focus on developing our career, rest of the things will come automatically. But if we just get myopic about one area, we would have struggled in finding the others. So the key is that we need to have the overall development. Just like as a human, when we were kids, when we get, grown to the teens or adults, we don't want only head is growing or our limbs are growing, right? It has to be the overall development, and so as in our careers. And the key thing is that when I was saying knowledge, some people say, no, my priority is not knowledge, my priority is pay raise. Some people may say, no, promotion is my priority, or no, I don't want to drive the things, so I'm happy with what I'm doing. The thing is that every human is different, so as their needs, right? And the beauty about this is that what is aspiring me today may not aspire 2 years down the line. So the relevance or the weightage of different goals changes over a period of time as we grow in our career. When I say grow in our career, we mature through different parts of our age, our requirements changes, and our motivation factor changes. So we should not be stereotyping that only money drives people, only knowledge drives people. So different needs drive at different point of time. Okay, so let's review some of the scenarios I'm sure you would have faced in your organization or maybe facing it. And I may not need to go through all of them, but you can read through that. Some of the thing is that one of the common thing is that we are not enjoying that, we are not working on something that we enjoy, right? There's people say that if you do something what you enjoy, then don't need to put any effort, right? A very beautiful statement, but it requires a lot of effort in going in that direction. We are not getting the promotion that we are expecting, or not getting the hike, teams are getting merged and acquired. This is very common these days in various organizations, for the simple reason that there are financial reasons, organizations are growing, organizations are acquiring other companies. And these are the various moments I'm sure many of us would have faced, that if there are two organizations are getting merged or acquired, then there are duplicacy of roles, right? Two people are doing the same thing, and then one will grow and the other will report into him or her, right? It sounds like a simple scenario, but it is not, right? How some people emerge as a leader and some people, lose their, the strength or the foothold. So it is very important that how do we those scenarios. Our immediate supervisor is getting changed. Rifts are expected in our organization. What do we do in such cases? Should I just start looking out? Should I switch my company? Or maybe I lose some good opportunity, if I just rush too much, and things like that, right? So these are various common events that happen in any organization. And more than worrying about what is happening around us, we worry about ourselves. What is going to happen to me? Am I going to lose my job? Am I going to lose my position? What happens to the financial commitments or EMIs that I have? And then we start to panic, right? With that, right? Do we react or do we respond in such situations? And we all know that, we have to respond. With that, right, before we proceed further, any thoughts? Like in the previous slide, I mentioned this scenario. Anybody would like to share experience that they have faced it and how they handled it? Anybody would like to share their views, inputs?
Hi, this is Ravindra.
Hey.
I do see many employees working at organizations continuing on the same job for a very long period of time, and they'll be naturally looking for some kind of improvement or career change. I believe organizations should look at individual level, at employee level, to check what are their aspirations and help them to go towards that area. Due to this, people may tend to resign or go to different teams, and those kind of things happen naturally.
Yeah, I see your point. My slides are going to have different perspective that we are going to put on the table, Ravindra, and I'm sure I think you would like to review them and then share your perspective once again on this front. I have been into the same situation that you are indicating, and I started changing my behavior towards certain things, and that helped me. So I'll be sharing that as well. Anybody else?
Prashant here. Can I add some point here?
Absolutely.
Yeah. See, Manoj, one scenario here is some of us are going through in our career journey. We heard of the T skills earlier today in the previous session. We also need to look at a pie shape there. So if my current role vocation is maybe getting in trouble, have I developed another skill that can keep my career professional journey along or stretched a bit? Can I build on
Yep.
that skill as well? So that's something we some of us tend to do very late in life,
Yep.
and I think we need to focus on that aspect as well. If not this, can I do something else?
Excellent
Thank you,
point.
Manoj.
Excellent point. Thank you, Ravindra. Okay, moving on, right? And let me share some of the common pitfalls from my personal experience that hinder our career development. Lack of having short-term, medium, and long-term goals. Right? What I want to do in next 2 years, in next 5 years, in next 10 years. It is very important. And then one of the previous point will also get covered here, that in fact both the points that one of the person said about the career development, the learning and needs of the individual employees, the organization should look at. And the other one is that if the skills are changing, so what is relevant today may not be relevant maybe a couple years down the line or maybe 5 years down the line. So I need to look at these goals. And then let me share my perspective, right? Many times we are involved in creating surveys. I'm sure you would have created surveys using Google Form or any other tool. It is not that we just collect the data from participants and then we do the analysis, right? That let me try to find what is the analysis coming in. It is other way around. What analysis we want to bring in, accordingly we frame those questions and put in the survey, right? Similarly, our career goals. It is not that whatever the elapsed time is happening and then whatever the organization or our peers or our opportunities driving me, that is defining my career. It has to be that what I want to do, and if my current organization or my current role is taking me in that direction. And the one more analogy is that, let's say you are going for a drive, you want to go to a hill station, and then let's say from Delhi to Jaipur, right? And then while you're going to Jaipur, there is a traffic jam there or the road is under construction. Will you stop there forever just for wait to that road get repaired? No, you'll find an diversion, you will find an alternate route and make sure that you reach your destination, right? Similarly, in an organization, if organization is not allowing me to meet my long-term objectives, I should not mind changing my direction, whether it is changing the team within the company or even changing the organization, right? But before that, a lot of things are on my shoulder, that what should I do to acquire those skills, which we'll talk through in next few slides. Not aware of our strengths and area of focus, not learning from our past experiences. And when I say past experiences, that in the performance reviews or any different direction we would have got some feedback. And then PR discussion should not be like an annual activity that we are going to have just the PR discussion followed by merit increase, and then I just focus on my next year's goal, right, or the next year's comp. In the performance review discussions, we get a lot of perspective. People share our areas that we need to improve upon. How seriously we work on those areas. Do we find and go to coaches and try to find them out? Many of us don't do that, and that's like very critical area, right? Primarily dependent on the external factors like manager or the organization. We just look up to our managers or our organizations that they are going to help in doing my career development. many times they help, but most of the times don't, right? Because there are other priorities that they have to meet. So it is important that I need to take care of my career. I'm responsible for my career, and they are just the facilitators. If I'm looking for certain help in terms of getting nominated for a training, if I want to go to a get certain sponsorship for a certain course, that's why organization can help, but they cannot be driver for my career. Low awareness about whereabouts of your network. So what are my networks are doing, where they are, what fields they are evolving, it's very important. Low awareness about latest trends in the industry, right? One of the person talked about that if the skills are getting diminished, I need to have the alternate skill. It is very important. So I need to make sure that I'm aware about those latest trends so that I can evolve myself as well. Only desires and less of action. Very important point. Whatever we are talked about so far, it is not that people are not aware about them, but it is about what actions I have taken to achieve those goals. And the 80 to 90% success depends on us, right? Or the ownership lies on us, that what if we do something about it, we are going to certainly gain out of it. And get comfortable with the status quo. I'm in a good company, my pay is good, I'm liking the environment, it's a very comfortable journey. So I spend good amount of time in enjoying my life rather than putting some portion of my life into developing my career. And we'll talk about that, what does it mean from putting that effort in the career development. So before we proceed further, any other thing that people think that there are pitfalls that we face? What are the other pitfalls do we see in our career development?
Yeah, so Manoj, Amar here. So generally what I see is people tend to depend completely on their org company. That company needs like safe agilist and trains you on safe, you are on safe. Company trains you on PMP, you are now a project manager. So mainly you are completely like catering to company's requirements, and tomorrow if they don't need either, then they fire you anyways. So mainly we have to own the responsibility of our career development. It's our own personal responsibility. Companies are just billing. They will just bill you to clients and make money or in the meantime. That's the whole purpose. But out here, how we are progressing and where we are going and what skills we have to pick and build, that is our responsibility, and we have to search for those from our contact, from our circle, from groups, from conferences. So knowledge seeking, that is what we have to focus on.
Wonderful. Completely agree with you, Amar. Yeah.
Manoj, Nitin this side. One of the item which I've seen, because most of the time the coaching to the new team members and working with the different sets of people. Right? So one biggest thing, the pitfall I see, that fear of failure. Most of the team member or the people, they really intend to do something new. They want to develop themselves, but they are not starting because of this back of their mind. They are thinking that, okay, what if I fail in my next role? Like the one of our fellow told about that company is asking that, okay, they are doing the safe, they are getting safe expert, they are working in the project management, people are getting PMP certified. All those they are just doing the sake of the industry need, or what their manager or company is asking. But is that their mindset and the back of their mind? Are they ready to opt the new role after doing those certification? So from my end and my thought process, fear of failure is also one of the key aspects that we should discuss about.
Absolutely. Yep.
I want to add one more point over here. There is a famous saying from Richard Branson himself. Like you train the employees so that there is a chance to change the company of themselves. The employees may leave the company, and if you treat them, they will be staying with you for a very long time. So I believe we do have coaches in the industry, like especially we have this Agile coach and so many coaches, right, within the organization. Similarly, we have life coaches. I believe there is a need for career coach within the organization where employees get individual attention as company expects from employees what are the customer expectations, and as a whole company or an organization is striving to deliver those areas. Similarly, company should also focus at employees at individual level so that they can understand the career expectations or what are they aspiring for and work in those areas. That will go hand in hand and help mutually.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's a good perspective. The way I see is that I think it is again the proximity or the approachability. It's similar to having a in-house doctor in an organization, right? The large-scale organization, they may afford to have an in-house doctor that somebody can visit. But if there is a need, right, we can always visit the experts which are available outside. But the key thing is, what is my requirement, right? So the good thing about today's world is that every resource is available out there, whether in our organization spending a lot of money on learning and development of the individuals. There is, with the availability of the internet, there is a ton of material available out there. There are online courses, but the key thing is that I need to be laser sharp focused on my career goal, that what I want to do, and the rest of the things become secondary, right? The point we are trying to make in this session or with this slide is that a lot of onus is on us, that what I want to do. And believe me, right, the point you made, there was in one of my previous organizations, such sessions started that anybody can walk in and clarify their queries. Hardly there was any people turning up, right? So I'm not saying, I'm not downplaying this idea, but what I'm trying to make is that there is lot of onus is on the individual.
Absolutely,
Makes
yeah.
sense? Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about the three ways of learning and developing ourselves. So one is that the clock represents 9 to 6 hours. We go to offices, we work 9 to 6, and some of you may say, no, my day is like 12 hours, 15 hours. Yeah, which may be the case. But the point in this slide is that many of us believe that if I'm working, I'm just working on the work projects, it is sufficient. This will help me to develop my career. That's one. The second thing is having the self-paced learning or learning ourselves. And when I say self-paced learning, doesn't mean that you can't go to the instructor-led classes, but the idea is that outside of those work hours, we have to invest some time, maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, 1 hour a day on my learning, right? And then I can go to attend a SPL, self-paced learning, read books, go to instructor-led courses and anything like that. But there has to be some time invested outside of our work hours in developing my skills. And the third way is the coaches, right? Like a couple of you mentioned about coaches. And we know the power of coaching, right? Just like if you take example of cricket, there are batting coaches, there are bowling coaches, there are fitness coaches, right? There are so many coaches are there. They may not be perfect in all areas, but they are too good in one particular area that they coach. So for example, if I want to learn public speaking, if I want to learn authoring a book, if I want to learn how work on data science, right? If there is a skill that I want to improve upon, there are people who do that skill really well in my network. Can I go to them? Can I request them, hey, can you help me in coaching and for this skill 15-20 minutes? So for different needs, there are different coaches we need to identify who can help us to overcome or make us stronger in that area. Now proceeding with that, this is the magnitude of usage, right? If it goes from left to right, downward, that more we spend time or just work hours, less on self-reading, and then going to coaches is very less, right? And we can think about it ourselves. We don't need to just call it out. That am I in contact with some coach, right? Am I learning something from a particular person who is helping me to become a better professional, right? And then probably if any one of you has any coach that you are taking coaching on certain skill, I would really appreciate that if you can share your experience. Did it help you? and what skill that you are learning from somebody, if you want to share.
So, Manoj, one very quick thing, although from the different side, we have in my organization, we have one of the culture that we coach our the fellow colleague from the different geographical location, and always organization ask certain coaches to be nominate yourself and help how you can improve the language, your technology, and the something which you think that you are very good in this, and you can coach some people. And recently, I got surprised that I got nomination from the Japan, from Korea, where the people have sent a nomination that they would like to learn English. So it's sometime not only that we should know that okay, what coaching we need. Parallelly, also the thoughts coming from the organization and the last the see, they are asking that okay, something can be coached, and people are coming up with their options that okay, what can be coached and which where who can be coached. So that is something from the my experience. Recently, I've started around 6 months back, and it's going well because I'm coaching English language, which is very normal in the genre. But we are coaching for the people who talk Spanish. They cannot understand English. They are learning English. Japanese colleague, Chinese colleague, they are trying to learn something. So it should be open for both sides, from the organization and from the individual level. But yes, this is, you have pointed well that okay, if we have coaches to do something.
Absolutely, completely agree with you, Nitin. And one more example strikes in my mind, and I'm sure all of us would relate. Right, many of us go to gym. Right, if you're doing a push-up, you are doing a squat, you're doing a bench press, any exercise. If we don't do it properly without a coach, right, we do in a one way, and then if coaches say that do in certain way, we find it hard initially, but that's what after that we see the impact, lot of impact on that, right? A slight change, an inch of hand movement makes a lot of difference, right? So that's the power of coaching. The people who are expert there, they'll tell you the specific thing that you need to improve upon, and it will have a longer impact. And the impact, right, the impact goes much higher if we from left to right. If we take help of coaches, if we do a lot of reading, it has a much more higher impact that we see. It's a career development tree, right, just for the notational purpose, that it is not just only one thing that we have to work on while developing the career. There are many branches which are there, whether it is experience, and the job experience is just one part of it. If you look at the entire tree, job experience is just one part of it. There are so many other things that we have to work upon that help us to having a flourished tree, and so as our career. Okay, so one of the thing is that, right, we talked about that during working in the office hours is one of the thing we believe that that's for learning, and I'm sure, right, during the discussion it has come, it is not. And if we look at the examples, two examples, one is the sportsman, and other is the defense. Right? When a sports person goes on a field, it is not that he's learning at that point of time. Definitely he's learning some new things which come on his way, but a lot of practice happens off the ground so that he can perform best during when he's playing on the ground against the opponents. Similarly, for the defense folks, they do a lot of practice, even though there is not situation of war or anything like that, but they still do the practice on daily basis so that they can perform at their best when the situation arises. So similar way, we should look at our workplace also. When we go to our office, it is not that I'm going only for learning, right? Learning will definitely come, but the purpose is that if I perform really well, perform on top of my skills, I'm not only helping myself, I'm helping my organization to beat my competition, right? So I have to put my best foot forward when I'm working with certain organization, right? And like in the terms of Mark Zuckerberg, right? When some people dream of success and while others wake up and work hard at it. So it boils down to us that what we are doing to make our dream, come true. So, this was, we thought to do a quick poll, but in the interest of time, just I'm skimming through the various questions, right? So some of the things that people mention that I don't get time for learning, right? One of the common reasons, just like for the physical fitness, people mention that, I don't get time. And we all know that, health is wealth. So similarly, learning is very important for career development, and we are not able to invest time into that. And there are some of the questions that I wanted to ask, that how do we go about it, but I'll have a couple of more slides which will help us in understanding that. So here are some of the reads, right, that I've read. There are many more. I'm sure there are tons of books out there, but I'm sharing from my experience which helped me. One is Go Put Your Strength to Work. I'll share that how they helped me. What got you? So let me start with this only. The perspective about this book was that many of us have different strengths, and the example it takes is that if there is a kid who has scored 19 maths, 17 science, 45 in English, and then if the kids come back home with the result, most likely parents are going to put the tuition for the lowest scoring subject, which is English, so that the kid can perform better. While that is good, but if you look at the other perspective that the author brings in, it's that just imagine if they put little bit more effort on the maths, the kid may go from 90 to maybe 100, and then see that nobody is going to beat him out there. So while we are working on areas that we are not so good at, we should also look at the strength that we are good at and then leverage them in our career workplace, right? That's very important. And the weakness which are there, we should just manage them to the extent that they are not noticeable in the work environment, and we don't need to worry about them. The next is what got you here will not take you there, right? Many people who are engineers that transition to the supervisor role and then continue to work in the same way. No, it has to change. And the belief is that, oh, I worked in this way, that's what I got the promotion, and I'll continue to work in the same way. No, it doesn't work that way. When you're in a new role, people look up to you from that role perspective, not from what was your earlier role. So their expectation changes. So the author tries to make the point that, you look at from your current role, what you brought here will not take you there, means it will not take you to the next level. So what are the things that we should leave? What are the things that we should acquire? Eat That Frog, very important read. It just emphasizes upon that how to focus on the key areas, right? Many of that, like when we step into office, there are tons of emails, there are so many to do things. We cannot address all of them. And then it tells that, how to prioritize that stuff so that we get time for the important things. The 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma. I think I can't emphasize on, waking up early and then utilizing that time to harness your skill or learning something, because this gives the maximum boost to your career, right? Maximum mileage. And then like crucial conversation is very important topic, how to give feedback to your manager, how to give feedback to your management. And many times we see those crucial discussions happening, and they are make or break moments, right? So this book tells us that how it helps. So I have read all of these books, and they help me in managing those scenarios better, giving a larger perspective, so that I don't think that it is just happening with me, and I can handle them in a better manner. So now, as we are summing up towards the, we have next, I think 4 minutes left. So some of the things, and I like this analogy of prescription, right? The RX. Many times when we attend session, we have a lot of material which is being shared, but what should I do once the session ends? And this is an attempt to suggest you something like I'm not a qualified doctor, but I'm trying to make a prescription that this is what you can try out after this session. And I really trust that you're going to feel a difference. Start waking up 15 minutes earlier than your regular time. So don't try for making a drastic change, just 15 minutes. You have to start waking up early. Daily reading, just 15 minutes. Pick a read which you like, and Eat That Frog is a good read, a small book, very impactful, and you can start utilizing from day one. Nothing better than implementing something that you have read from day one, and this book is all about that, and it will help in building your interest in reading. And reading goes long way. All the leaders are readers, right? Any leader that you talk about, you ask them that what is your favorite book, how much time you spend in reading, I'm sure they will mention that they read consistently, whether they're in flight or they're taking a break. Reading is one of the habits that they never give up. Understanding of current and future role, understand your role, what are the things that you lack, what are the things that you need to work upon, and start working on them, right? And people who aspire for next role, it is not that you need to perform only those duty after you get into that role. What you have to do is that start understanding that what next role looks for, and start taking up those responsibilities, in your current role only. You can walk up to your manager and then say, hey, I want to work upon something new which is challenging, or anything that is worrying you. Can I help you in some of your deliveries? Things like that, right? Nothing better than experience than owning some extra responsibility for your team. And professional networking, very important point. I think I can't emphasize enough on this point, that it is very important. Use your LinkedIn, get in contact with your peers from current company, other companies, get them connected, and then see where they are up to, what things they are working on. And in a passive manner, when these feeds come at LinkedIn, they are really, really useful. So many times you get to a new technology or a tool that some of your peer has mentioned, and you never heard about it. Take a note about it, start reading about it. So key takeaways, right? Continuous learning is the key to sustained growth. So career development is, it's founded, or the foundation is the continuous learning, whether it is soft skill, whether it is technical skill, whether it is acquiring any other skill, but the continuous learning is the key thing. Regularly invest in building and strengthening your network. It's just similar to gardening. And many times what happens that if I have a job threat, if I'm looking for a change, if I have not talked to my network for 10 years and suddenly I need their help, they're in a good company and I ping them, just see that it may be a lukewarm response. Just imagine that somebody who was not in touch with you for 10 years, right? And suddenly he pings you that, hey, I'm looking for a job, I'm looking for a change, can you help me? What would be your response, right? Versus somebody who is in regular touch with you, every couple of months you're talking or interacting with each other. So keeping that network is warm is very important. Otherwise, by the time you make it warm, it is going to take a long time and you lose opportunity, right? Identify and learn from coaches, right? This we talked earlier. Be disciplined so that you have time for above activities. And one of the point that I want to make about network is that there is a quote which says that out of sight is out of mind, right? When you are connected and your network is in a good company that you also aspire to work, and then if he comes to know something, he can definitely refer you. And today's world, internal referral carries the highest weightage, right? No job portals, nothing else. Internal referrals is the key, and that happens only if you're connected with your network, that what are your strengths, what are you up to, and so that it registers in their mind. Be disciplined so that you have time for above activities, and it cannot be such like a activity just do one day. What happens on New Year Eve, right? Many people take the from January 1st resolution, I'm going to hit the gym, and the gym will be full packed for initial 15 days, and it will be deserted after that, right? So it cannot happen like that. Take baby steps, learn those things, and be disciplined. Do one thing at a time. You don't need to just boil the ocean in one day. It is matter of habit. We have to do certain things 50 minutes a day so that we get habitual about it. You are the driver and the owner of your career, nobody else. It should be the first thing should be registered in my mind, that if I am in a good position or if I am in challenging, it is because of me, nobody else. If I hold somebody else accountable, I'm just shrugging off from my responsibility, and I'm going to face that scenario again. And the only thing is action changes the things, right? So that's I like this, really a good gif that I wanted to share, that beautifully abbreviated the act, right? The action is the key thing, right? Okay, so that's the last slide. I like this image very much, and many of the observations are not new. I'm sure there is a ton of material out there, you would have learned all these things, but the key thing is that acting upon them. And if you look at the many times people don't get in this image, that this guy is saying that use the round wheels, and these guys say that we are too busy, right? And they're using a square wheel. In our day-to-day life, we are just spending time, we are just logging in the office hours, doing the things for hours and hours. Manual stuff is there. We just, buried under the Excels, doing manually. What if I learn an Excel course? What if I learn how to write the macros? If I need to do some, Perl, Python, Java coding, and it just does my job from 6 hours to 1 hour, and I don't need to worry about again, right? So there are many things in our life around us which are repeatable without any value add. We are just spending time on daily basis, right? So how we can overcome that? Okay, with that, Nitin, that's the end of slide. I think we are 3 minutes over. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's okay, Manoj, but really, it's a very, very informative session, and there are a lot of takeaways. On behalf of entire team, the session, it is a brilliant session, I can say, and lot of takeaway, and definitely it is going to add a value to all the participants in this group. So many thanks for your time and the patience. Good luck, Manoj. Thanks.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Manoj. Thanks, Nitin.
Thank you.